This feels like it's going to be from a song, Don Henley, Boys of Summer. I saw Tom Brady with his headphones on, and it did not look like his hair enjoyed having headphones on, because he, like the top to his, they have good fancy network headphones, and his was like split, like I've never seen with the guy, but so his hair would flip up real good.
The first 2 times that he was doing a game were not good.
I thought he was a champ on the Vikes game.
From then on, he's actually pretty good.
Tough. It's like you're asking a guy who's made his living winning Super Bowls to instantly, like for Tony Romo, it had to be easier without all those Super Bowls to drag him down.
Ouch.
I
Sorry,
love Tony Romo right away, but nowadays he's a little much. He's Collingsworthing it.
Wow. I'm not going to criticize anyone broadcasting any longer after doing the podcast.
Are you on a podcast?
I am.
What's it called?
I'm not sure, but a lot of people don't like it.
As long as it's not called TheAscertainers, because I heard that Dave Foley guy did not approve of TheAscertainers. Oh, by the way, hey, what are you doing here? We are the Ascertainers. I'm Jim.
Hi, I'm Mark.
And Mark is
alive?
Your host this evening. I'm just going to kick back, relax, and let Mark do a lot of the work, because I just rolled into town and boy are my ribs tired. Is that how it goes? Or I just flew into town and my arms are tired. I just ate at Newt's and my jaw is tired because I ate a lot. I ate a lot of popcorn. We had an appetizer.
I cleaned out most of the appetizer.
Literally, I don't think I'm going to wash that. We had what is it called? The artichoke dip?
Correct.
With ciabatta toast points, in a way.
Is that what they call the bread points?
It's just ciabatta. I mean, toast points is what rich people eat.
I didn't know that.
That's what you have with your breakfast.
I'm not rich, so I don't know.
I'm more of a points with toast guy, not a toast points. I'll be like, hey, it's over there, and I've got a piece of toast in my hand.
I've never heard the points.
Toast points? Oh,
yeah.
That's like gourmet. Not even gourmet. It's just a cook. It's a chef's term.
Mm.
You know, if you're going to serve it with pieces of toast, you call those toast points. You don't say toast.
Next time people are over at hoity-toity, I'll just toast some bread and say, oh, here's your
Cut
toast
it into
points.
triangles and say, oh, this is, enjoy your peanut butter with toast points. Dick.
Will they be impressed?
Or what?
Will they be impressed?
Undoubtedly. I think so, for sure. Why wouldn't they be?
Because I said points.
Toast points. Could also be a good podcast alternative name.
Wow. Good point.
See? It makes it so gravy.
Again, we're the Ascertainers. I'm Mark, and this is Jim. Welcome.
I'm Jim. That's Mark. We were at Newt's, which is our signature sponsor, our exclusive sponsor. We're lucky to have them.
Yes.
I haven't seen Corey in a month. I think Corey is boycotting us. I think I saw a little glimpse of him around, then he kind of snuck back around the corner.
Tonight?
I'm fucking with you. But anyway, we miss you, Cor. Hope you have a Happy New Year and all that, or have had a Happy New Year by the time this airs, because it is New Year's Eve, baby. Mark's got his fancy shirt on. I plan to drink to excess. I mean, just not like any other night of the year. It's a special night. But at Newt's, we had the 3-course meal: popcorn, artichoke dip, and then our entrees. And Mark has something he wants to say about his. Oh, because I think it speaks for everybody that dreamed it. Mark finally did it.
Jim always says you cannot have the fish tacos with long sleeves because it's too messy and it drips down and your forearms would get full of juice. So tonight I ordered the fish tacos and I'm
doing my mic like Lemmy now.
Anyways, we were at Newt's and I ordered the fish tacos, and Jim says you cannot eat fish tacos in the winter because of long sleeves.
That's the theory is that fish tacos are a summertime food because if you eat them with short sleeves, you can manage the juice. May I? Is this a family-friendly podcast? You get fish taco juice down your arms and you can just wipe it off. because I eat them real fast and loose. And if you have a long sleeve shirt on and you eat a fish taco, it's going to run down there. There's no escaping that. You're dealing with a go home, get a shower.
So I figured I could get around that by eating with a knife and fork.
You found a loophole.
I did. It went very well.
I was a naysayer. I thought you would cut through because they serve all their stuff on like a little plastic thing with a piece of like, I don't know, wax paper kind of shit. Looks good. It's like green plaid. I'm like, oh, buddy, you're going to eat so much paper. And Mark assured me, no, I'll just transfer it over to this plate that they have.
I didn't even do that.
Didn't even do it. It was almost as if he was mocking me.
The paper is...
You're like Dexter with that knife.
It's like it's like extra fiber.
Is that new gum? I know they have mint and they have cinnamon. Now they come up extra fiber?
Extra fiber.
Lasts an extra long time.
Long time.
So, in other words, Happy New Year. Go to Newt's while they're still our sponsor.
We did have a nice time at Newt tonight. We met some of my old neighbors, Jim's current neighbors.
Current neighbors. Bruce W., Jeff H., Jenny B. Oh, and Greg J's daughter.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Was Jessica or something like that. And Bruce is like, yeah, you got to tell her that one story about you and her dad. And I'm like, why? Who? It's like, I didn't know that was Greg's daughter. So I told it. And then I said, you get his side of the story and see which one's funnier. But Greg J put me in my place.
Did she laugh?
She, I think, was more concerned than, I mean, she thought it was a funny bit, but she didn't really laugh. I mean, think about it. It's like, meeting me for the first time has got to be a handful. And then here's a story. And she's like, she thought everything was serious. Took everything very literally. Anyway, so she didn't really, she's a smart person. I think that's her flaw. Is it a feature? Is it a bug? She's a very intelligent person. So harder to tell jokes to those folks. It's all good. Don't worry. Greg still is the top burn of my entire life came from Greg J. So if he ever wants to come on and just fucking make me nervous the entire time, he can. And Greg J's wife doesn't care for me, but get in the line.
Who does, yeah.
A lot of wives don't, so don't, you know what I mean? We've since, I think, made amends, but...
Are we done with the Newt's promo?
You tell me. Do you think people want to go to Newt's?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think they will?
Well, they will because it's the Apple Valley Burger Emporium.
Yes. I think the people we had Fiji on last week, but we don't know when that one's going to air. And I think one of them called it Lovely Burgers. And that might be just a little more efficient than what we say. But did they have ice cold beer? And by the way, it's New Year's Eve, which is a Tuesday. So normally we record on Fridays, but on Tuesday night at Newt's, it's a little thing called Pitcher Night.
My first time on a Tuesday?
Yes, and you get a pitcher of your favorite beer for about what it would cost you to buy 1.5 of your favorite beers, and you get like 4 beers out of it. So it's a good thing.
We got a pitcher, and we shared it with our... No, wait, we drank them ourselves.
No, everyone drinks their own pitcher. It's really, really tribal. Although we shared, because we like different kinds of beer. So Mark and I each got a pitcher of beer for ourselves. Our business associate, Chris, drove us, and she had a strawberry margarita. So that's not part of pitcher night. Oh, what if? Oh.
Wow.
But then, so I drank a pitcher of beer on a relatively empty stomach, other than popcorn. Nice hot popcorn. And then I started talking smart, and then after that, we split a pitcher of Coors. And when the check came, the pitcher of Coors that we were to split was still relatively full, and we toughed it out.
We did.
We made it go away. Because you can't waste
Well, it's New Year's Eve.
$5 beer.
It's New Year's Eve.
It is.
So we got to celebrate.
Yes, and Newt's isn't open till midnight, so that's a good, responsible place to go celebrate. You can get home, beat the whatever crazies on the road. But go to Newt's, tell them the Ascertainers sent you. Thank you, Newt's, for your continued support. We hope we're not letting you down. I just dropped a pen, so I might die before I pick it up. Effortless. Mark has fired up the jukebox, which can only mean one thing. It's time for the radio game.
Let's do it.
Before we do the radio game, I'd like to tease our topic a little bit in case people think this is if you're here for the music.
Are you going to tease the people, or are you going to actually tease the topic? Because I don't think the topic has feelings.
I'm going to tease you. You sit still there, buddy. Here I come. Tickle monster. Let's go. So anyway, I like how I tried to reduce the level of intensity of my voice to make sure nobody thought this was actually happening. The topic we decided, because we weren't feeling the music, so we thought, and I stole this from another podcast, is kind of best beer, worst beer, like beer stories, I guess. Beer camp.
You didn't tell me you stole it from somebody.
I steal everything from somebody. There's no more original ideas. You know, there's only 83 keys on a keyboard or a piano. I don't think that's right. But there's only 26 letters in the English language. Yet they continue to make new books, movies, and things. Is that fucked up or not? This is like NASA talk, which apparently drove you crazy when you're editing it today. But I'm blown away by how there's only a certain number of music notes. There's only a certain number of letters. Different languages, there's cheeses, different cheeses.
As Jim pointed out, I do have to
pepper jack on that.
I do have to apologize for our space talk that we did. It was so bad.
How bad?
Well, we were spouting off.
How bad was it?
We said we went to the moon in 1968. It was 1969.
Oh, wow. That's brutal. It was a 1 year.
But we were talking
That's
about
called the Ascertainers allowance. If you're a one something or other, angstrom, Mike B, hi, if you listen. He used the word angstrom when we were talking about our stock meeting one time, and I'm like...
It's like Dumb and Dumber.
I thought it was a rock. I thought it was something you would pick up on a shore. Oh, look, I found an angstrom. No, it's a unit of measurement.
When he walks out of the bar and he sees the newspaper clipping that we went to the moon, he goes...
We landed on the moon! Yes. All right, you have like, are you doing errors and omissions?
I was just throwing that out because you mentioned it. I was just apologizing for
I was just about to say when I thought that was a perfect podcast, but yeah, that's great.
6 space shuttles.
That's how many there were?
Yeah.
Seems like 7. Are you sure? Oh, there's one. Oh, that's how they reported.
But we were talking like engineers.
You remember that van I had in my driveway for all those years?
Yes.
You ever been in it?
I drove it.
Did you notice some of the buttons were NASA buttons? That was the control thing for the 8th shuttle. You thought there were 5. Keep going. You're doing terrific.
Oh, that's all I got.
Threw his hands up in disgust. All right.
Radio game.
Yep. It's a beaut.
Unless you have errors and omissions that we already started.
I have one. We talked about it at dinner, but I have to clear my name on the record. A previous episode, I said that you are very quick to make decisions for people that aren't here. For example, if I go,
gave you the
we
win.
should get so-and-so on, and you say things like, oh, nope, they'll never do it. And then I've said that about 6 different people, and your response is, it's 2 things. You're consistent in this regard. It's fast and it's negative. Nope, they won't. Nope, won't do it. Now, I see you're trying to say something. I said that on a recent episode, and then you said, oh, what about that time when I said we should do something or other, and I said, I don't think I'd want to do that. I was speaking for myself. That's the difference there, Johnny Rocket Pants. Yes, sir.
I actually apologized and gave him the win at Newt's tonight.
Well, I don't think everybody was there. I think there's about 3 people that listen to this that weren't there. Maybe you'd like to say it now, and I'll feel a little better. I'll wait.
Goodness.
I'll be over here drinking.
Holy cow. Jim, you win. You win.
We're waiting. Okay. I just had to do a little schmales. So, all right.
Anything else you want to? Because it's the last day of 2024. So.
Okay, I want to go take you back to 2023 that one time when I was just trying to mow my lawn, man. So, the radio game, and this is the last, while this is being recorded, it's New Year's Eve of 2024. So that would be December
He's doing like his.
holding the weight of the world. I feel like I'm trying to not let balloons escape a pillowcase or
Oh,
something.
that's a good
See, it's
visual.
called picturesque speech. I read Reader's Digest growing up, pal. So anyway,
I only read laughter is the best medicine.
so this is the. You know, people made money sending shit in for that, and you know how cheap? They paid you like $50. You know how much good material? They probably sold all that shit to the Tonight Show.
There was some
You think about
bad stuff in there.
Oh no! Well, I guess if what made it to the print was bad, well, they probably sold the good stuff for what I
that
mean?
could be.
They just they solicited for jokes, and I just want to say how much I hate Jimmy Fallon. That's,
Just out of the blue.
and now into the radio game. No, I saw a really good Johnny Carson clip this week. It was where they had this lady. She came on and she literally had potato chips that were shaped like interesting things.
Oh, I did see that.
Do you remember
one.
this clip?
Yeah.
And she's going through, she goes like, oh, here's a pair of dirty socks. And it was two that looked like they were the same. And here's a cat, and here's a camel, and here's a pear. And and then she says something to Ed, and Johnny eats a chip, but it's from like a separate bowl. But her reaction was like, what the fuck did you just do? It was gold. It was called funny without having to try to without having to double up in laughter or like be the center of attention. Johnny was a goddamn treasure.
What if she had a heart attack when she saw that? It wouldn't have been funny then,
I bet
would
he
it?
would have done just like what Jim Carrey did when that guy ate the spicy food.
Oh.
And he probably would have got on top of her and went, ha! Point at her. That's what you get. That's what you get. It's the Tonight Show. By the way, they just called it the Tonight Show. They didn't call it the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. They just said it was just the Tonight Show. Not featuring Jimmy Fallon. Hey, Jimmy, you're a fucking millionaire. Just let it go, man. Come on my podcast. I'm going a little off here. This is that second picture of beer talking, but I'm so mad at Jimmy Kimmel. And Kimmel, too. But Jimmy Fallon, for sure. Stop laughing into the camera.
Johnny Carson was not the first host.
I believe Steve Allen preceded him, and there might have been a guy before him.
I thought it was Jack Parr before that.
I think
Parr,
so. Parr, then Allen, then Johnny Carson.
I
right?
believe so.
So it was you had to earn that seat.
But Johnny didn't say Tonight Show with Johnny.
No.
He didn't have to.
That's the key. That's the point. Can we just change the radio game into my disdain for Jimmy Fallon and all
You
other
could say
things?
it's sponsored by our disdain for Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, if I could monetize my disdain for Jimmy Fallon, I would sit on a throne of money. Also, I watched Elf. I watched the whole. There's my errors and omission. I watched Elf. It took me 3 tries. I kept falling asleep, and it's not that funny. It's overrated. I love Will Ferrell. Although I haven't seen his latest project. I'm kind of really want to, and I want to try to do it with an open mind, but
You mean like the PayPal commercials?
no.
Oh, they're bad.
Well, maybe he's warming us up for his cross-country trip with his friend.
Oh,
Are you
yeah.
familiar
I'm
with
not
that
going to
one?
watch.
I'll watch it because, I mean, it's an art thing or whatever, but I don't like agenda-driven shit. I don't like stuff, may I, crammed down my throat. So,
Okay.
radio game. Super fun. Hey, is everybody having fun? Mark's going to name 4 bands. I'm going to name 4 bands. After we've named our 8 bands total, I'm going to listen to the Secret Earbud, which will be tuned to KQ92 FM in your Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota. That's where we're from. Should have mentioned that earlier, in case you're wondering. And if one of those bands is playing, then Mark and I will have the option to take any of the money out of the pot, although as hosts, we tend to leave most of the money in there for the guests.
Well, since I'm the host, I'll go first.
Okay, Jimmy Fallon. Douche. Well, one of us has to, so if
No, that was
one of
my
us has
joke.
to, but yeah, Jimmy Fallon was doing one of his many things where it's like, oh, I have 2 guests on. Let me go and participate in a game with them because it's my show. It says so right on the goddamn door. Anyhow. Fuck. don't know if I'm going to see 2025 at this pace. So anyhow, Mark, I would love it if you would give me your first two bands, and then I'll follow suit. Flip, flop, bingo, bango, bongo.
Since we had the Fiji guys on last time.
Yes.
And Paul put us to shame by naming a song with the artist.
Yeah, well, he just,
I am going to do that tonight.
An homage to Paul.
He showed us up, so I'm going to try to smack him down.
Oh, is it really?
Paul,
So
yeah. So
it seems like it carries good intentions, but it really is. Hey, next time you come on, just fucking act right. Okay, cool. Yeah, what do you got?
Traffic, Light Up, or Leave Me Alone.
Never heard of it. I would have gone with Low Spark of High Heel Boys, but you do you.
That's a great title.
What was yours?
Light Up or Leave Me Alone.
Like it.
And then Glenn Frey, Smuggler's Blues is such a cheesy song, but I love it.
It's a great song. It's a banger.
And then I get the Eagles, and I would go with James Dean, which is another one that's...
This could go on all night.
Well, it's a radio game. We got to hype it up.
Oh.
James Dean, I think the lyrics of that are really fun, even though it's not a good song.
James Dean.
Along
James
came a
Dean.
spider, picked up a rider, took him down to eternity. James Dean.
Really?
Yeah.
Did he die in a spider?
He did.
I got to listen to more Eagles. Okay. I'm going to go with, I feel like I want to just do the dumbest bands known to man, but I'm going to do smart bands. Deep Purple, because I heard Lazy this week. Wow, what a song. And then Grand Funk and or Railroad. With or without the railroad. I'm specifically thinking of Locomotion, I'll be honest with you.
Well, I'm thinking more, what's the Home? The great song, Captain.
I'm Your Captain.
Yeah. What is the name of that song?
I think it's just called I'm Your Captain.
Could be. It's a great tune. Great bass.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll look it up. I think it's fun if we just let people hear us hum it through a few times.
L.A. Guns, Ballad of Jane, and Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Relax. Don't do it.
I mean, it seems like you were trying to win until those two. I'm going to go with,
Never
I'll go
tried
with
to
Thin
win.
Lizzy, but I will balance out my Thin Lizzy, which is probably more of a mainstream band. Since I can't do the Cars, I'll do Gary Newman, who has a song called Here in My Car. Huh?
Yeah.
So mine are Gary Newman, Thin Lizzy, Grand Funk, Deep Purple. Let's see if the batteries work in this thing. Ooh, Soundgarden, Black Hole Sun. No wonder it sounded fuzzy. That was intentional fuzz. I've never heard Soundgarden on KQ before.
Well, we're getting old. That's classic rock now.
The song probably came out 30 years ago. Oh my God. At least.
I was going to do Alice in Chains, No Excuses. God, you would never hear something. It'd be on 93X.
That wasn't classic rock by any means, but.
It wasn't even 93X. It was The Edge or something.
Yeah, that was more like grunge kind of. I think 93X is more prone to play that kind of stuff, don't you think? All right, so topic-wise, I heard some other podcasts were talking about, like, they'd have people call in and go, hey, my most memorable beer was. So when they say best beer, it doesn't mean it was the best tasting beer. It was the combination of the atmosphere you were in and the occasion, like the meaningfulness of that beer. Maybe that's how I should have said it. So do you have any that I have a couple of good examples?
Well, I'll start out with, in high school, when you went to a kegger, it was always Miller beer. And I don't know why that was. Was it cheaper? Was it...
They might have just gave the oldest keg that they had to the high school
I think
kids
that's
that were
what it
underage. And do you remember? So was it the fact that you were getting away with it? What was it about that beer that made it the best beer?
It wasn't best. It just reminded me every time I asked, what kind of beer is this? Maybe they didn't know, and they always said Miller.
Well, it's funny you bring that up, because I always thought it was comical that you would typically pay either $2 or $3 for a cup, and then you could drink all the beer you could stomach until they ran out of beer, right?
Right.
So it was important to know, like, how many kegs there were based on if there was, like, a field full of people and you spent $2. Sometimes you just got the foam and it was like, hey, tough break, buddy. But the people that would go up to a guy with $2 in their hand, and hand it to the guy with the red cups or clear cups usually back then and go, kind of beer is it? And then protest that, oh, it's a Bud. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to leave? I just thought it was like, at an early age, I knew what a dick looked like. Not like, as a human behavior dick, not a penis, but.
I hope I didn't come across like that, but I never protested. I was just.
Right. No, that's curiosity. That's just for your own information. But
right.
There are the beer snobs, the $2 beer snobs never really resonated with me. They pissed me off. They made me angry.
Do you remember the keg balls or whatever those things were? They were just like these.
Oh, it was like a 3-gallon keg of beer. Yeah.
And they were made of plastic.
Party ball, I think is what
Party ball.
Yep.
I got one at a party. My wife and I were living in Florida. It ended up in the water the next morning. I had to go try to fish.
Did you have to return it? Or you were littering? There was a sea turtle trying to fuck it?
It was like a holding pond behind all of our houses. And I thought, you know what? My neighbors are going to be angry if I don't get this thing out of the middle.
So did you put on like a ghillie suit so they wouldn't know it was you? You're like the boatman of the ferryman at Styx or something like that. Is that a thing? You're into that kind of crap.
Are you talking about going over to the river Styx?
All right.
You're up.
I remember one time at band camp. No, one time at a keg party. I don't know what the hell happened, but somebody spilled an entire beer in my car. And it wasn't like I had a chick in there we were getting it on or anything real exciting like that. I think it was like we were listening to Judas Priest or something on my one speaker stereo, and somebody just douched a beer. And I'm like, oh, this is bad. So I had to come up with a story for how that happened. And I hated lying to my parents, but I lied to my parents a lot after keg day. And I remember my mom would, I think just to be a dick. Hey, Mom, I know you listen to some of these and you've been a tremendous guest and a pretty good mom overall. But when I was in high school, have you ever known a mom that would just vacuum on Saturday mornings or weekend mornings when you were just dying in your bed of a headache?
No. But one morning my dad did wake me up and said, you're mowing the lawn.
Just because he suspected that you were hanging?
He knew.
Yeah, my mom would use this phrase, and I've heard it, sadly, more than once. James Andrew, it smells like a brewery in here. I don't know if that's possible, Mom. But, yeah, apparently I drank so much that my room smelled like beer.
I had the same thing. It wasn't the car. Someone spilled the beer all over me.
Yes.
At a kegger. I came in the house, and my mom always waited up till I was home.
So did mine. She would sleep in the living room sofa like you couldn't get past her. It was like she was running a Ray Lewis-like defense, if you know what I mean.
We had that conversation tonight.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ray.
Yeah, Ray Lewis. Not like Jimmy Fallon. We love Ray Lewis. Jimmy Fallon. Get it straight, people.
But anyway, she caught me. I really didn't have that much that night.
And love it.
I was just soaked, and I said, I was at a party. You're at a party. What are you doing at a party?
Like fucking Keith Morrison. Oh, at a party.
It went down.
Were there other people there? Why'd you have a seat? No, I just turned into Scott Hansen. No, not Scott.
Did.
Chris Hansen?
Chris Hansen.
Yeah, Scott Hansen's the Red Zone guy. Totally different experiences if you're talking to the Red Zone guy or Chris Hansen.
What's the Red Zone guy?
Huh?
What is the Red Zone?
Red Zone? You don't know Red Zone? It's like a football thing where all they show is
all the time.
Okay,
yeah.
It's kind of like if you were to watch a whole bunch of porno movies and it was only the money shot that they showed. That's what Red Zone is.
I don't have that any longer.
Not that I've heard. Not that I know what that really means. Mom.
But he is quick.
Scott Hansen?
Yeah. Oh. He's funny.
And he throws some stuff in that is like, I think, over most of people's heads and it's just gold.
The Dennis Miller effect.
I suppose. Some say the ascertainer effect. My neck's getting sore from my burps. Boy, I'll tell you what.
I interrupted you.
I feel like I was going to finish off with back. It smells like a brewery in here. Oh, sorry, I can't say finish off in front of you. The Dennis Miller. Okay, I'll do one. I'll do a favorite beer, like an actual like, I love saying the word like. We got to have a little, the sound of a quarter hitting the bottom of a jar when I say the L word, lesbian. No, I'm kidding. No, so this would have been in my first house I ever lived in, as an adult, first house I ever bought in Richfield, and it had this little 2-car driveway and a walkway from the detached garage into the house, and no other sidewalk or anything like that. But this is before I got a snowblower. Yes.
Quick question. Did you have an alleyway in Richfield or no?
No, it was the garage was off a street. It was
okay.
Right 70th and 12th. Stop by. It was a beauty. We bought it for like $98,500. I think we sold it for $141 5 years later, and that thing's probably worth about $300,000. Like, what if we could have stomached? What if we wouldn't have this podcast if I stayed in Richfield. So many things wouldn't have happened in like.
As Greenspan said, that's not really that much money in your pocket because you're going to put it into the new home that you buy.
I guess, yeah. Okay. Hey, Greenspan, get your own podcast, fucker. I'm just kidding. Is Greenspan the one I like? Is he the Nebraska, the Oracle from Omaha? Or
no, that's Warren Buffett.
That's it. Okay. Oh,
Greenspan was the old,
guy.
yeah.
Married to Andrea Mitchell.
No way. Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, you want to talk about like objective reporting in the news? Oh, yeah, my husband's the chairman of the Fed. I better look that up. That better be right because we can't edit that much out. I was
new home
at the job I had. If a guy covered your territory, so it was a sales job. It was with Paychecks, great company, great stock. This guy named Todd S. Went on vacation. He goes, "Hey, cover my territory," and they always take care of you. So he brought me like back a T-shirt from where he went and a 6-pack of Pete's Wicked Red Ale. Okay, you can't even find it anymore. Red ales used to be a thing. This is back early Sam Adams-ish craft days where everything you drank was Bud, Miller, Schmidt, Mickey's, whatever the hell. And they started getting these like heavier, more interesting beers. And I remember it was cold as balls, but it had snowed. So it snowed, and then the cold front came in, and I had to shovel out because I didn't have a snowblower yet. And I put a couple of beers just kind of about this much in snow, like about, 2 inches of snow as I shoveled. And it took a while. So I got to the beers, slushy. And I remember just sitting there and like I took my gloves off and my hands were steaming, and I popped it open, and everything about that night is very vivid still in my mind. And it's like, you know what? I've drank a lot of beers over the years, and that is, I think, my favorite ever beer.
Oh.
Like, A, because it was a good beer, can't find it anymore. B, I'm sitting here in my accomplishment of about probably a 40-minute shoveling job. It wasn't like I dug a ditch or nothing like that, but, and then, it was like, okay, things are good.
Actually, that reminds me of going to the Philippines. They had 2 local beers there, and one was pretty good, but the second one was hit or miss. It was mostly formaldehyde, but the alcohol content, one, you might not get drunk, and the other one, you might pass out.
Actually had formaldehyde in beer?
Yes.
Jesus.
There was no quality control back then.
German brewing standards now, would it?
No. That story reminded me of that.
So that's your favorite beer?
No.
Is this why you like Coors Light?
No. That was playing beer roulette if you would survive drinking those.
What's beer roulette? Is it like the Beer Hunter?
I think my boys played that with us.
Oh, you shake one up? Or?
Yeah. I'd say, go get us some beers, and they would shake it up when they were little kids. Some of them. To one point, they were shaking every beer that they brought us. So it wasn't really much of a game after that. Yeah,
there's certain things you got to not tell the kids, I think. So is that one of your favorite beer stories? Is the Philippine beer that...
No, that just reminded me.
You pass out, or
it was just a story, not a favorite story, not a favorite beer. It's just a story.
I remember the first beer I had in this house that we are in now, that I've lived here for 25 years. You would be convinced it's paid off by now, but that's another story for another podcast. maybe we'll get Dave Ramsey on as a guest and
Tell us everything we're doing wrong.
Why I still have a mortgage. But anyway, had a good time too. So it was a Summit Extra Pale Ale, which back then was kind of the go-to like craft beer. It's the St. Paul, Minnesota brewed beer. And I remember it was, moving all the crap in, but not all the stuff was there yet. So I think I was sitting on like maybe even like a chair, a card table chair kind of thing. And TV was hooked up. Speakers were hooked up because we got in as it was being built and people ran the wire behind the wall and shit, all that blah, blah, blah. And anyway, I proceed to open a beer and I take a nice long sip. I set it down and then I knock it over on a brand new white carpet. So I was able to get it out, but it really it was like if there was a record playing, the needle would have scratched across it. So
that's good and bad, though. You broke the home in
immediately.
Yeah.
Before I woke up in the first.
So you're a lot more relaxed after that.
Totally. It's like getting a door ding. Yeah. Then I thought I'd try to remove that spot with piss because that works on octopus stings. Or no, what is that? Jellyfish. I didn't. But you can't tell where it was now because of the blood. Don't get me started on my carpet. So, yeah. So you owe me a story, Mr. Man.
I am going to bring up, for a while there, I drank Moosehead beer.
Ooh. JT drinks that exclusively.
I think it's more popular on the northern tier close to Canada. I don't think if you went down to Florida or Arizona or something.
Oh, no. I mean, it's a Canadian lager.
Right. After a while, I didn't feel good after it. And I think I was getting part of that Green Death. Have you heard that?
Mm-hmm.
The Heineken, Moosehead, anything in a green bottle made you feel.
Oh, now that's very interesting. No, I've not heard that.
And they called it the Green Death.
When I think of the Green Death, I think of a different beer, but you go on because you probably heard of this beer. They don't make this kind of beer anymore, I don't think.
But it was in a green bottle.
Yes.
But I think it encompassed all green bottled beer.
You think you cannot drink green bottled beer?
I quit drinking green bottled beer.
I know that one of the reasons that most beer is in a opaque bottle, like a brown bottle, brown, green, or clear, those are kind of your options, is that beer is sensitive to light, sans any kind of like preservatives or whatever, like Miller and Grain Belt are the only two I can think of that still come in clear bottle. I guess Corona, but I think that's a feature to Corona, is it tastes a little off. That's part of its charm. But all of the Coors and Bud and that other one, like Amstel Light.
Michelob with the old paper covering which was irritating.
Don't even start with me on Lowenbrau, but I think Lowenbrau was a green bottle, wasn't it?
Lowenbrau was green.
Okay. Anyway, so growing up, it was Heilemann Brewing Company out of La Crosse, Wisconsin, which is about an hour from where I grew up in Rochester. But they had a beer called Special Export, and that was the common name for Special X was the Green Death. But I always thought it was because it was had a little pinch, a little extra boost of alcohol in it. Where if you were used to just drinking like, Blatz or Red, White, and Blue or some of the other high-end Heilemann products, and then you got your hands on some Special Export, it was almost like a malt liquor level of, it was probably like 6%, by the way.
Was Blatz from the same brewery?
I don't know what Blatz was. I know that like Heilemann had some great ones. Old Style, which is really kind of one of my, they started making it in La Crosse again, but it's not Croissant.
Did that have that? Wasn't that like a coat of arms on the can?
Yes, it was such a cool everything about it was, and they had all these little drawings of shit in the background, like artwork and stuff.
Yeah.
But so here, I'll do a best beer, but it wasn't. It had to do with the situation. Myself and two other buddies would often. For like a high school hockey game. We didn't play high school hockey. We weren't good enough. Or more like I didn't really want to. I'm just kidding. We had some pretty good hockey teams in Rochester. And you knew by about 5th grade if you were going to be on one of those high school hockey teams. But we would go to the Rec Lanes bowling alley and sit in the parking lot and polish off between 3 or 4 guys a case of long necks, typically red, white, and blues or old styles. So that's either 6 or 8 beers per 140 to 160 pound kid, and then drive around. So yeah, then we go to the game, and when we got to the game, we were like yelling at the top of our lungs, thinking we were just speaking in a normal speaking. Hey, let's go! Because we had been listening to like Waylon Jennings music cranked in the car. We were cranked. The car was cranked. The music was cranked. Everything was cranked.
In your defense, your metabolism at that age is
probably
helping quite a bit.
Well, but I also think the inexperience of youth. Nobody, it was a victimless crime. Nobody got hurt, luckily. But yeah. So anyway, that wasn't even on my list. The time my first beer turned into my first through 5th beer in about 1 hour. My brother Steve was kind of a stickler. He didn't want me to like go down a wrong path. And he's like, don't drink. I'll kill you. I'll beat the crap out of you. And I'm like, okay, I won't. Don't smoke pot either. I'm like, okay, I won't. And it's like, it was almost like then once it was deemed that I could do that, I decided, well, I'm going to catch up for all that. Anyway, so he came home one time with a 12-pack of Pabst Blue Ribbon bottles. No, can. I'm sorry. Just a little whatever, a 12-pack of 12-ounce beers. And my mom and dad weren't home, and I think I was in 11th grade, maybe 12th grade. And he goes, you want some beer? Go ahead. He goes, but you can't leave. I go, okay. And I remember I grabbed one, sat down, just guzzled it. Walked over to the fridge, grabbed another one. I think after about the 4th one, when I got up, I had some balance issues. So that I proceeded to do that through 5 beers. And then I was like, I don't know what bodily function I need to do next, but one of them is going to happen quick. And my brother walks past me. And I thought that I had to have a bowel movement. And then I guessed wrong. And then I actually had to do the other. So my brother Steve walks by. I'm on my knees with my pants down, puking into the toilet. He goes, what are you doing? I look up and he just shakes his head. So anyway, that was a great story. Why did I keep drinking?
You know, the nice part about that whole thing is cell phones weren't around.
Oh,
because that could be really bad nowadays.
Yeah, I didn't feel very good about that or during or after that event.
I do have a sad story. To me.
Sadder than me vomiting with my pants down?
Well, you decide.
Okay.
We went down to Colorado to do a tour of the school I was going to. And my father bought me Coors, which was not allowed across certain state lines.
Back then, you had to go to Colorado to get Coors.
So he bought me the Coors, and then one night I took it and I gave it to my friends, and, we drank it.
Back here or?
Back here.
Okay, so he bought you a 12-pack of beer, or a case of beer?
12-pack.
Okay.
And then when he found out about it, he got angry, but I didn't figure out till later that it was something he wanted to share with me.
Oh, that is sad.
It is sad. It's very sad. Should I edit that out, how sad it is?
No, I think it's keeps it real on the Ascertainers,
but he wasn't a beer drinker, and it never crossed my mind that he wanted to.
How did you find out, and how long after?
I didn't figure it out till years later after I graduated from school.
Did he tell you that, or
no? But we were.
Hey, let's have one of those beers.
He did make
we're going to circumcise you. You're 30 now, so let's go ahead and get one of those out.
He made a comment, and then I figured it out. I should have saved at least one to have with him.
Okay, maybe we can close on this story, because it's
similar.
Most of our listeners are looking for a ladder and something sturdy to tie off on. Is that when in high school, after the my brother Steve Paps incident, then I developed a taste for it. So anyway, my buddies and I, and Ange, and then a couple other guys you don't know, we stopped by the house, but our winter coats were just full of beers, like cans of beer. And it was one of these, it was in the winter time, but there was like, there was a lot of snow, but there was like a big, like, sometimes it gets icy on top of the snow. You know what I'm talking about? Where like the weather had got warm and then it froze again. So
Back in the day, we had those puffy winter
down
jackets.
jacket, fake down jackets. They weren't real down in
No,
my house,
no,
but they
no.
were like, but they had pockets everywhere.
My mom made ours, so.
Oh, I made one in home ec class, a vest. It was so cool. Anyway, but they also had like they were like called parkas, I think is what they had.
Yes,
and
they had the hood.
They would have like the hoods with the fur lining, and those are making a big comeback now. I mean, people are paying top dollar for that shit. And running around the yard, and I get like tackled. This is my backyard. Folks are looking out the window. What are these idiots doing? And I get tackled, like 3 beers fly out of my coat, and they just go flying. I mean, it was like a curling rink out there because of the ice, the crust on top of the snow. And I fucking run and kind of stuff them back in my pocket. And the next day, my dad's like, he was a little pissed about something, probably about the fact that, whatever, we showed up half hammered and all this stuff. And he it was so bad. Oh, Dad, I know you're looking down on this, I hope. But he goes, I think you might be getting a little, what do you say, generous with my beers. So I had to be indignant to the fact that, yes, I had beers, but no, those weren't yours. And I really struggled with that. But I think it was probably funny as fuck to watch. Where I'm like, God! Just anyway. But yeah, that's you live, you learn. Luckily, my kids don't drink, so that's a bonus. Yes.
Happy New Year. This is good.
Welcome to 2025. Welcome to Culver's, home of the Butterbur. Welcome to Delicious. That's what I meant to say.
Welcome to 2025. It's probably January 15th when this comes out. But anyways.
MLK, pour one out. That's the 17th. Or the third Monday or second Monday. Third.
You can get a hold of us at TheAscertainers@gmail.com or text us on any platform that you listen to us on. And we do have a Facebook page that Jim is wonderful faces on. So just go to that and like it.
Yeah, what Mark said.
Like it.
You'll get nothing.
Thanks for listening.
And like it. Bye.